There we go. How you doing? How your day going? Morning, evening, night, all that good stuff. Same ish, whatever. We back on our true crime ish. About to check out The Daily Revenge of Kevin Sweat. Looking at this thumbnail, only thing I can do from this thumbnail is judge. I'm hoping one or two things. Well, not hoping. It can either go either or the way I'm thinking. Look, you know what I mean. Pete, looking at the two girls, I'm like, all right, them his babies, something happened, so he ended up getting revenge on who did it. This is the title and the thumbnail, that's what I'm getting. I wouldn't be mad at that story, but we'll talk a little more. I'll offend you more into the video. Or did he want to get revenge on someone, possibly a spouse, girlfriend, whatever, and end up doing something? I'm hoping it ain't go that way. It can go neither one of those ways though. I'm talking a little bit of ish because these true crime videos, look, I just got to build up to it a little bit, man. Look, we'll talk more at the end. We're going to start this video. Check out the original video. Link will be in the description below, but let's go. Oh my gosh.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, we are talking Sweat. Big Sweaty. I mean that name ironically, of course. He is itty bitty. In every way. And you know what else is itty bitty? The town of Weleetka. But you know what? That is okay in my book.
I think I know where it's going.
Because it's in Oklahoma. There, mysteries abounded for many years. Mysteries which got both clearer and increasingly muddled as the years went by. How about I tell you about them? Because honestly, like, some parts of the story, shock. So, how about, let's give it a go.
Yeah, the way he introduced them.
Weleetka is like almost in the geographic center of the good old USA. The definition of flyover. About 1,000 people live there, with a hefty amount below the poverty line. Back in the day, the railroad come true town, but not so much anymore. Cue Bruce Springsteen harmonica. I found one review of the place on niche.com. Small town where everyone knows each other. It has a Family Dollar and a nursing home.
Yeah, you know that bitch hood.
Should've put.
The boy, them Family Dollars be like smacking the hood. Hold up. Small town where everyone knows each other. It has a family. I know he reading it, but hold up. It has a Family Dollar and a nursing home. They also have a place called the Indian Center where kids can hang and play basketball. The fuck is called that for?
I found one review of the place on niche.com.
Nigga,
Small town where everyone knows each other. It has a Family Dollar and a nursing home. Whoa, should have put that into tourism ads. They also have a place called the Indian Center where kids can hang and play basketball. Witness downtown Weleetka, a place where there are more churches than really anything else. I'm sure it's a lovely place, but let's get to our story, which ain't so lovely. June 2008. That summer was hot. The days were long, and two girls were walking on a lonely dirt road just outside of Weleetka. Skylar Whitaker, 11 years old, and Taylor Placker, 13 years old, both from Weleetka. Both attended Graham Dustin just outside the town, and on the 8th of June, a Sunday, they were out walking together not far from Taylor's home. Skylar wanted to be a vet when she grew up. She'd walk everywhere barefoot, followed by her many cats. Taylor, her dream was to be a forensic scientist like she saw on the TV, and she had a big heart. It was a warm day. They wanted to be out and about, and there's not really a whole lot to do other than stroll the dirt roads and fields of Middle America. But then, just as dinner time was approaching, neither were answering their phones. Taylor's grandfather, as I said, who just lived a little bit down the road, he went out to see if he could see them. And he found them. They were face down in a ditch about a quarter mile from the house.
Was it a hit and run?
Taylor's granddad, his first thought was that they had been knocked down on that road, and flung into the ditch. But that wasn't it. And then this was at about 5:30 p.m.
State emergency. Yes, somebody killed 2 girls over my daughter, my grandbaby, and her daughter, friend. What happened now, ma'am? I don't know. They went for a walk and they're both down here dead. They're dead. Your granddaughter?
Fuck?
Yes, and her friend. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, my God, my God, my God.
Oh my gosh, dog. Now you hear that? I'm gonna let the story finish. This is why. I can hear the sincere. I can hear that person's innocence. The reason why I mentioned that, because we were watching a lot of these, and some of these people, I don't know what's about to go on with this Kevin Sweat dude. I don't know. But when they be lying, I'm like, man, this shit be so noticeable when people be lying. And don't get me wrong, some people just chill. Some people like you legit just not gonna get a response no matter what. I get that. But finding someone you love, man, I can hear it, dog. Real quick, we're gonna get back to the video. We're gonna start it. That's crazy to me because even as kids, I remember, I don't know about y'all, but we used to be all over the city of Flint, dog. My mama, she like, all right, don't go past the corner. Boom. Never used to check on me neither. I come back, the damn street lights be coming on. I don't trust. Fuck. We gonna talk about some shit later. Man, when my kids on the front chart, I'm out there with them. That shit crazy, man.
God, oh God, oh God, oh God, my God, my God, my God.
No way.
They both had been shot dead and left there. Shocking would be an understatement. Unbelievable, more fitting. Unfortunately, though, it had to be believed. You know, everybody's, how could this happen?
We're working in concert to try to get this solved as quickly as possible. And we're going out and we're looking at specific details. Sometimes we're looking at timelines, other times we're going through criminal backgrounds.
Both girls had been shot multiple times. Skylar 8 times, Taylor 5. They were both clothed. There was no sign of sexual trauma or anything like that. It seemed random in a place where random doesn't happen. The fact that they were both shot so many times and ditched in a ditch, it was very methodical.
Man, that's fucking hate.
As if someone could have a grudge against a child. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations took on the case. The hunt for suspects, who could be anyone and anywhere, but were...
What it sounded like so far is, I don't know if y'all familiar with that it was the same story like this in Chicago. It was like, dudes had some beef with some other niggas, so they, I think, caught his little one. I want to say nephew, cause whatever they caught him in the alley, and you know what? Little kid, all because he was related. Oh my fucking God! No, I think he lured him into the alley, and then he did it. It's fucking crazy.
The hunt for suspects, who could be anyone and anywhere, but were more likely among the 1,000 people who resided in Weleetka. What was most likely, people were saying was, perhaps they saw something they weren't supposed to, ran into people they weren't supposed to. Drunks or addicts was what the locals said. Crime in this region was on the up. Drugs playing a major part in that. Meth heads out in the woods, that sort of thing. Or perhaps a random shooting just for the heck of it. Maybe someone tried to abduct them, went wrong, and so they were just killed. It was quickly learned that 2 different guns were used, and so investigators began to think perhaps it was 2 people they ran into. The entire region was in mourning for the 2 children. A reward of $25,000 would be offered, for any information leading to an arrest. Whatever the case, though, the reward, which would later be, substantially upped, would never be claimed.
Well, authorities have received hundreds of leads, but there has never been any arrest. Okay. Residents hope to finally get a breakthrough when an increase to the reward fund.
It's been 2 years now, and nothing's come out of it.
Hank Hinkie comes all the way from Texas to do his part to help.
I hope who's ever responsible is caught, but if not, we'll be back here again to do it again next year and build this reward fund up until we do catch it.
I like his hat. He like that one Jarvis. I don't know if y'all watch Tom and Jerry. The one that I think it's his cousin. He always sings something like "Hambone, Hambone." Ain't got nothing to do. Ain't got shit to do with the video. I know that. The fuck you looking at? But that's who he remind me of. I don't know if y'all know. I think it was Tom and Jerry. I think.
Again next year and build this reward fund up until we do catch him.
At least the hat.
A sketch was released. This guy was seen by a witness who saw both girls only minutes before they were shot dead. This guy was in a pickup and he looked sketchy, the witness said. Shell casings were found right at the crime scene, and the OSBI, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations, they sent out letters basically to the registered owners of basically everybody who had that type of gun in the area, asking them to come in so they could, well, have a look at your gun. Over 40 caliber gun owners, showed up to the courthouse and they went to the police here. Fire away. None matched the 5 shell casings, though, that were found at the scene. They didn't ask for the 22, the other gun that was used. I guess it seemed unlikely that, unless the killer stole and then returned the murder weapon, I guess it seemed unlikely that the killer would go up and be like, hey, have a go at that. And a year later, 2 years later, police went out asking for someone to come forward to help solve this horrendous crime.
So
for the 2 best friends who died that day in June of 2008, folks will never give up hope that their killer will surface.
Until somebody does talk, there isn't really much that can be done with it, except that it isn't a closed case. It's just a little old.
The pleas went unanswered.
This is not a cold case. The reason being is we continue to get leads, so I don't want anyone to think this is a cold case. It's still being worked by a number of agents. That number differs every day depending on what kind of information we have to run on. And we'll continue doing that until it's solved or we have no more leads to run.
I mean, I can't find a reason anymore to smile.
Have you ever been at your nursing lab at your school?
Girl, hell no,
watching
I
your
ain't
faculty
work there.
demoing?
Hey, these ads getting kind of good.
I'm
I be
Professor
sitting here
Samantha
watching this
Ray,
shit sometimes,
and in my
dog.
clinical skills course, I'll walk you through
I ain't even
how
no
to
damn
perform
nurse.
dozens of clinical
Run.
I mean, I can't find a reason anymore to smile. I mean, I know no other way to explain it but pure hell. That girl meant everything to me. And even for the past year, I spend most time by myself.
But no reason is ever going to be good enough. There is nothing that can justify doing that to children like that.
Man, right, dog.
About 35 minutes north of Weleetka lies another small town. I mean, a few, but one. The town called Okmulgee. It's home to over 10,000 people, and has a fair bit more going for it than wee Weleetka. It was Okmulgee 23-year-old Ashley Taylor was from, and it was there she disappeared. Ashley Celeste Taylor was last seen by a relative on the 15th of July 2011, over 3 years since the double homicide in Weleetka. Ashley was a churchgoer, an animal lover, and a passionate family woman. She had a brother, a sister, and a full life ahead. Until July 2011, that is. She was last seen in Okmulgee, her hometown, where she lived. That was last time she was seen, properly. That is, because she was seen 2 days later. She was seen just off the highway near Shulter, south of Okmulgee. The route you'd probably take if you were going to Weleetka.
Oh.
Ashley, though, was reported missing on the 29th of July, so 2 weeks after she was actually last seen. She was reported missing by her mother, who, well, she hadn't heard from her. And so, ramping up the old investigation, the first people the police went to speak with was her fiancé, Ashley's fiancé, a guy named Kevin Sweat. Big Sweaty. Though, as I said, that name, it's a bit misleading. Because his brain is small, Sweaty was her fiancé, Ashley's fiancé, a guy named Kevin Sweat. Big Sweaty. Though, as I said, that name, it's a bit misleading. Because his brain is small, his body is small, his dick is small. Though I'm sure all are sweaty. he was questioned about the last time he saw his girl. See, when Ashley's mother told the police about the last time she spoke with her, that was the 15th of July, Ashley said her and Kevin were going to Louisiana to get married. See, Kevin and Ashley were high school sweethearts. Holy monkey! They were supposed to have returned from Louisiana back to their home in Okmulgee by the 29th of July, and of course, when Ashley didn't, the police got a ring. Yeah, well, see, her mother thought it was odd that she didn't hear from her daughter when she was getting married.
Yeah, obviously getting
Ashley
married.
was supposed to have contacted someone in Louisiana when they arrived. She never did. Ashley's brother's birthday came and went without a call from Ashley, and Ashley was a real family woman, very family orientated, you know,
you did say that
sort
shit,
of thing.
bro.
And obviously no one could contact her. And so the police thought, well, the next best thing, worst thing, is Kevin, her fiance. But Kevin, who never missed a day's work, never took any time off.
Now you missed some, huh?
Because it seems like there was no trip to Louisiana at all.
Oh.
And so, it was Kevin who said he had last seen her on the 17th of July on the side of the road, in the shoulder of a highway. Or so he said. His spiel, right, get a load of this, was that they were driving southbound, going to Louisiana, yeah lads. And they got into some kind of argument, roaring their heads off at each other. And so he pulled over into the shoulder of the highway, said, "Your Audi 5000 of the Audi." He wasn't driving an Audi. So he let her out on the side of the highway, said, "Good riddance." Off he went. Then he drove around, he said, went to his dad's home in Weleetka, where he burned some tapes and some notebooks, presumably related to his future, well, not so much future missus, and then went back to their home in Okmulgee.
That nigga went back home too?
A few days later, that story changed again. Definitely not for the better. This time, he said, they had gotten into a fight that morning on the 15th. A physical fight as they were driving. They pulled over to a lake. She punched him. He threw a knife at her like a ninja. She grabbed it. She started cutting herself. Went down to the pier on the lake.
What, nigga? My bad, calm down. I threw it. She caught that motherfucker. Like, boy, stop playing with me, dog. Fuck you smoking. Matter of fact, we'll be back after these commercial breaks, nigga.
But she started cutting herself, went down to the pier on the lake, and then he grabbed the knife and he cut her throat. And he dumped her body in the lake. As you do. The lake was searched, and there was no sign of Ashley. But what the police did do was go to Kevin's father's house.
Bald-faced ass lie, dog.
As you do. The lake was searched, and there was no sign of Ashley. But what the police did do was go to Kevin's father's house in Weleetka. And it was there they found the remains of the fire. In that fire, they found bones. Ashley's DNA was also found on an axe. Kevin was arrested and charged with the murder of Ashley Taylor.
What the
Kevin was born in 1986, a native of Okmulgee, OK, with me, pal. He had two siblings, two older brothers, and he attended Wilson High School in Okmulgee, where Kevin was bullied. And it was there he became friends with Ashley. After high school, he worked in a few fast food restaurants. He had been in the Naval Reserves, which is weird when he was
This
from
picture
a
looks so
landlocked
familiar,
state.
dog.
And he had high hopes of becoming a cop. Till he was arrested and charged with the murder of his fiancée, Ashley. He hadn't been in trouble with the law, at all. A few minor incidents, having drug paraphernalia and that sort of thing, but nothing violent. As I said, Kevin and Ashley became friends in high school. Two loners who found each other and, hey, soon were more than friends. While Kevin worked, Ashley cared for her mother and siblings who had special needs. Tragedy struck young Kevin, though, in 2007, when one of his brothers died of a drug overdose, something which was getting a tighter and tighter hold on the community. Kevin, he lost the twinkle in his eye after that, but it drove him to be closer to Ashley. They moved in together and soon he popped the question. Their relationship, though, wasn't perfect. Kevin was pretty angry, as I said, after his brother died, and they fought a lot.
So now
Kevin had issues. No shit. And it seemed like as the years went by, Kevin was kind of regretting asking the question. He should have unpopped that cork. He kept up a blog at this time on DeviantArt under the name Joseph I. Morgan. It's his middle name and his mother's maiden name. On it, he has, pictures of himself with lots of guns, and where he also posted a lot of, very cringy, like, late noughties kind
When I found out I was behind these cold eyes, you'll just have to blow your way.
of stuff, emo-y style. Some of his artwork, too, which is shite stuff, emo, very cringy, like, late noughties kind of stuff, emo-y style. Some of his artwork, too, which is shite.
Pyramid Head?
Name, Giuseppe
Triangle
Morgan.
Head?
Oh, it's not Joseph I. Morgan, it's Giuseppe. I got that wrong. Oh, well.
Hentai.
Age, 19. Likes, anime, drawing, hentai. Nice. Video games, music, talking to Sami Koi. Dislikes, pushy people, the government. Rude people. Fears the most, being alone, dying alone, never finding true love. Holy shit, dude, this is deep. And in May 2010, he wrote, I'm living on my own.
This nigga always got a joke to throw in. Hold up, bro. I ain't lied to... Alright, never mind.
Never finding true love. Holy shit, dude, this is deep. And in May 2010, he wrote, I'm living on my own or somewhere. I got engaged not too long ago. Biggest mistake of my life.
Ooh.
Wish I knew she was a complete basket case, medicated and suicidal, before I got with her. Now I'm kinda stuck. But no worries yet. I'm saving up money so I can finally leave Oklahoma once and for all. It's not like I'm keeping all this a secret. Hell, my family knows I'm planning on leaving. Just didn't tell them it was permanent.
Oh, go back. Wait. We have some more. It's not just because of my psycho fiance I'm leaving. Just there's nothing here. And I know what y'all are thinking. With the way the economy is, it's not a good idea. Well, if those of you haven't realized, no matter where you go, whether it's California, Texas, New York, Japan, Russia, or whatever, the problem will still be there. So it's not like things are going to go from bad to worse when it's already worse. Besides, it's time I start living and thinking for myself. You bitch ass niggas. Now get the fuck off my Oh, man. And you know what's crazy, though? Because from his dislikes, I can tell he's one of those people that don't like people that's not going to be strong, that stand up for themselves, that can think for themselves. Now, what he's saying, the way his girl, not saying I justify what this is, but I'm saying this to say I watch enough spiritual channels to know what kind of people they don't like. Look. So with him popping that question to her, then I'm guessing just now seeing this, like, man, I feel like she ain't got no backbone. She weak because we hear what she said, the word I'm trying not to say. This is how, even though it's bullshit, this is how people like that's gonna look at it most of the time. So now I feel like that's really just a staple in him just being stuck. Cause it's like, great, now I got engaged to one of these. You know what I don't like. Like, I keep saying that nigga so Illuminati that. That nigga's so stupid, dog. I be cracking up.
And for all. It's not like I'm keeping all this a secret. Hell, my family knows I'm planning on leaving. Just didn't tell them it was permanent. You also gotta wonder how much Slugger over here planned when his last post was 3 months to go. Huh. Ashley's mother said she was acting odd when she last spoke with her on the 15th of July.
Oh.
Things were going up shit creek. And when the police searched Kevin's home after he was arrested, they found some shells, which matched shell casings from an incident which happened 3 years prior. That double homicide was suddenly back in the news.
We begin tonight with a major development in the unsolved murder of 2 little girls from Weleetka. Family members of a murdered Okmulgee woman believe that her killer may have ties to both crimes.
And this wasn't the first time the police had spoken to Kevin about the murders of Skyla and Taylor. See, back in 2010, in January 2010, they discovered that Kevin had purchased a Glock in 2007. and it was the same caliber of one of the guns that killed the two young girls. Now, when the police went to speak with him, he said that, that by that time, he had sold a gun, and he didn't know what the serial number was. Sorry. So they left
I don't know none of mine
at
either.
that.
Every time you see this logo, think about one thing.
Even though I'm still not saying he didn't do it, like fuck this nigga. But still, what I'm just saying in general, like, I don't know mine.
Know what the serial number was. Sorry. So they left it at that. He was questioned about the Weleetka murders.
Did the girls say something? Did the girls throw something? Or what happened? What happened that day that set you off?
There would be no point of shooting kids. I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen,
man, nigga,
there's no question. We know that you were there that day. We know that you were there that day when that happened with those two girls, okay? Because we have forensic evidence, Kevin, from the scene. We have your DNA. It's not an issue here whether you were there. We know that you were there. We know that you were responsible. Okay, we need to get over that. I need to know what happened that day. What happened? Just tell me what happened that day.
Look, first off, I don't know.
Listen, well, you do know, Kevin, because you were there. Did those girls do something to you? Did they say something to you? Did something set you off that day or what? There's no doubt about it, Kevin. There's no doubt about it that you were there and that you're responsible for it. That's not the issue there.
I've never met them. I've never even seen them before until I saw them on the news.
That cop looked like he was about to steal his ass. Like the way he looked, like, nigga, I'm trying not to run up in your shit, dog. I couldn't do that job.
There's no doubt about it, Kevin. There's no doubt about it that you were there and that you're responsible for it. That's not the issue there.
I've never met them. I've never even seen them before until I saw them on the news.
No, until that day, Kevin, okay, we know that you were there and that you were responsible for that.
And he said he'd been driving along that road they were on that day, North 3890 Road, and he happened to pull over at one point. Then he said he saw two monsters coming at him.
Man, I don't want to hear no lies.
Don't pull this little hole. My brain flipped. I didn't know what was going on. Everybody's demon shit. Don't pull that shit, dog. That shit is weak, man. These kids, man.
Said he saw two monsters coming at him.
I don't want to hear no lies. I didn't come here to hear lies. I came here to hear the truth. And we know that you were there. We know that you were responsible.
I'm guessing I was mental issues. I thought I was seeing shit.
Okay. Seeing what?
I don't know. Things. Monsters.
Okay. And what'd you do?
Panicked.
Okay. And
shot.
Okay, so you saw two demons. Is that what you're telling me?
Mm-hmm.
Two demons, he said. We're just racing at him. So he got one of the guns out, started blasting. Then he got another gun and kept. He didn't know what he had done. Two monsters, two demons.
Last stop. Hey. Not saying that's not a possibility because we watched enough Nick Crowley videos to know this shit is possible with the human brain. But the reason why I know this is not with him, I can tell by how responsive he is in that interrogation room. I can tell by how the shit led up to it. Him and his girl was on the road to Louisiana, whatever, boom, boom, boom. He came back to his little BS stories. Like, no. When it be these stories that be believable like this, when they be like, man, people brains can't flip like that, we don't know what's going on. Like, sometimes we thought it was Flacco, sometimes they remember one was like, oh boy, when that wasn't in his system and still did it. But you will see it's a transition. Like, it's some shit that be happening over time. Like, you just see, like, this person is fucking leaving this body, bro. And then you get the crazy-ish. This ain't that. Stop playing with me.
And kept. He didn't know what he had done. Two monsters, two demons. I just come at him. What?
I'd like to get rid of him.
I hear that.
That's all I can say. I'd like him not to be on this earth anymore.
Kevin Sweat was escorted out of a courthouse in Okemah after being inside only a short time. A preliminary hearing was postponed after thousands of pages of documents Sweat's attorney says he had never seen were introduced into evidence. The defense says it needs more time to look at that evidence. Sweat has been charged in the murders of two Weleetka girls, Taylor Paschal Placker and Skyla Whitaker, in 2008, but was already accused in the murder of his ex-fiancée Ashley Taylor before that connection was made. He has pled not guilty in both cases.
He was charged with the murder of Skyla Whitaker and Taylor Plank. Ooh, that's a nasty black eye. Clumsy, Kevin. The death penalty was on the cards for all the killings, and his attorneys argued, successfully, that he be tried for all three murders at once. One trial for all.
Up in there.
He was pleading not guilty. He later waived his right to a jury trial in exchange for, a non-jury one. And then, just a few short days before the trial was due to start, he pleaded guilty to all the murders.
Now, this is the paperwork from court today. In it, Kevin Sweat did change his plea to guilty for all three murders. He accepted responsibility for killing his fiancée, Ashley Taylor, in 2011, and for those two horrific killings of those two young girls, 11-year-old Skyla Whitaker and 13-year-old Taylor Placker, back in 2008.
He wanted to avoid the death penalty because he knew he would get it. The reason he pleaded guilty to it all was as a result of some new evidence which came to light. New evidence which would finally show a motive as to why he killed the two young girls.
What happened to the? I was just thinking that. My bad. I was thinking, like, what happened to the revenge things? I thought this was the end of the video.
Show a motive as to why he killed the two young girls. As part of his guilty plea, he never had to explain why he did it or how he did it. Just that he did it. The murder of his fiancée Ashley could, you could say the motive was, well, I mean, he was just in a very unhappy relationship. He's clearly a little bit unstable if he did that, so he just saw it as his only way out, I guess. Maybe they did fight and he killed her and then blah blah blah. But why kill the two young girls? See, he wasn't crazy. He didn't see monsters, see demons legging it at him. That was just him, dipping the old toes in the insanity defense. But psychological tests were done and they found him to be fit as a fiddle in the noodle. He knew what he was doing that day. He didn't see any
what I tell
goblins.
You, nigga.
The only thing that was on and in his mind when he shot two children was revenge. He wasn't too happy with the Placker family, of which Taylor was a member of. Remember his brother dying a few years before? Well, Kevin had come to believe that the Placker family had been the one to sell him drugs. Tainted drugs, which caused the overdose in that hotel room.
What?
And so, to Kevin's mind, it was an eye for an eye. And Christopher Placker, Taylor's older brother, would have testified at trial that he had in fact sold Kevin's brother drugs shortly before he died. So it seems like it was confirmed. Kevin pled guilty to it all, and so would avoid any kind of trial. He'd also avoid any kind of lethal injection. He was due to be sentenced on the 24th of October, 2014. And then things got just a little dramatic.
I was inside the courtroom as I saw deputies running and...
My bad, I thought a nigga was coming down the street with 215s in the trial. I was like, alright, I hear Monte Carlo. Hold up. Oh, dog, no. It's making sense now. What he connected it. I called it. I was like, dog, it's gonna be one of them situations. It's all in the title. It wasn't hard to put together, but that's bull, man. The kids, and I guarantee you, it was all because you wanted them to feel what you're feeling. He sold them drugs. I get it. That's bull. But man, that's like equivalent to people who be like, free my nigga so and so, even though he did like a big ass crime. It's the same difference. It's like it's fucked up, but it's like this come with that game. This comes with that. Hella messed up, get it, but no. Oh my gosh, dog. You don't know if he actually poisoned him. You assume he did. Could have been some bad drugs. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe the body just couldn't take drugs no more. Maybe kicked out. It could have been many different things, dog. But yours was just you assume. Like, no, forget that. Even though he was playing that game, he still shouldn't have died from it. Like, yeah, that's a possibility. Damn, dog.
Any kind of lethal injection. He was due to be sentenced on the 24th of October, 2014. And then things got just a little dramatic.
I was inside the courtroom as I saw deputies running, and later on we found out that Kevin Sweat had allegedly attacked one of his lawyers.
In the courtroom, right before the sentencing, Kevin, he was in a back room with his court-appointed attorney, when all of a sudden the guards were locking up the place and telling everyone to get down. See what happened? Get a load of this. Was that Kevin had somehow managed to smuggle in a razor blade from the jail and tried to murder his attorney in the back of the courtroom.
It is alleged that he produced a weapon, possibly a small razor blade that he had hidden.
The Okfuskee County DA says moments before the sentencing, Sweat attacked his lawyer with that blade, cutting him on the neck.
He was trying to slice open his attorney's throat. Now, he didn't manage to get a cut in, but it wasn't life-threatening. He managed to get that in before the guards essentially bet the shite out of him. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, once for each murder. Shortly after, he tried to withdraw his pleas. He wanted a jury trial. He was now saying he didn't kill anyone. And he said that in those interviews where he, sort of admitted to it, that's an imposter!
Convicted of 3 murders, is headed to prison. Today, a judge denied Kevin Sweat's chance for a new hearing. Sweat will spend his entire life in prison. In July, he entered a blind plea, saying that he's guilty for killing his fiancée and 2 young girls. Then last week, Sweat asked to withdraw that plea.
Well, that went over like a lead balloon. But Kevin, yes man, he still wants out. He wants a new trial. Good luck to his next attorney who's representing them.
Right.
I hope they got a thick neck. Not long after he was sent away for the rest of his unnatural life 3 times, someone messed up. An alert was sent out that he was out of prison, fully freaking everyone, all the family members, as you can imagine, everyone who was related to this case.
I know
Kevin
they was
has proven
hot.
more than enough that he is a very willing killer. He wasn't out of prison, obviously. It was a clerical error due to him being moved from the jail to the prison. But well done, scaring the shite out of everybody.
I know,
this
man.
killer, one time.
I know that family was
big sweaty. Well, little sweaty. But that about wraps up his whole story. Somebody who was growing up, was bullied, then his brother died. He wanted vengeance.
Yeah,
he's messed up in that. You can read his blog. Links are always in the references down below. It's weird as shit. But there you go. That's the whole story. Tragic and just messed up for this lad. A mad bastard. Full on Killer Kev.
Man, this shit's so damn evil, dog. I don't even want to talk about this. This was beyond evil, man. Ugh. But look though, I'm about to go and get up out of here. Y'all be safe. Be easy out here. That's crazy. We talked about that before. Like, it's just simply the people you can meet. It just leads to something hella bad. Like, it's crazy how meeting someone can either build a bridge that's gonna like, all right, meeting you was like amazing for my life, or meeting someone could just be like, I'm about to cut the bridge off. You meet some people who just keep going, nothing changed really. But that's crazy, dog. Hey, I'm about to go ahead and enjoy the rest of my day. Y'all enjoy your day, morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this. But I'm out.